Hey all, my name is Paul Borosky and I am the owner of Quality Business Plan as well as Quality Business Consultant. And what I'd like to do today is to introduce y'all to my beginner's guide to financial analysis for Walmart 2022. So the way the video is going to play out is first and foremost going to go ahead and give you all a little bit of background about me, who I am, what I do, and why I do it. After that, I'm going to introduce you all to some important sections of my beginner's guide to financial analysis. I'll show you what's included, and if you're interested, at the end of the video, I'll provide you all with a link to purchase the beginner's guide if you so choose. Also, the link is right here. All right, so as promised, and without further ado, let's go ahead and move through this little PowerPoint presentation. So as promised, a little bit about me. Again, Paul Borosky, MBA, doctoral candidate, as well as the owner of Quality Business Plan and Quality Business Consultant. I do publish or I do research probably about 15 to 25 different companies on an annual basis. And through my research, I'll go ahead and either write financial reports for the companies, or I'll do beginner's guides for each one of the companies. Or in a lot of the cases, I'll do both the beginner's guide as well as the financial report. If you're interested in some of my public company financial reports or beginner's guides, all you have to do is just go to this website right here. And like I said, 15 to 25 different company reports are done on an annual basis. And again, I've been doing it for 5 years. All right. I'm also the author of the Beginner's Guide to Understanding Financial Statements and Financial Ratios. You can find my book on Amazon.com. And then finally, I am an adjunct professor and subject matter expert in finance. So I do have some higher education teachings and education under my belt to support my thoughts and ideas about my different for my financial analysis for the company reports. All right, enough about me. Let's talk about the star of the show, which is Walmart 2022 Beginner's Guide. So my Walmart 2022 Beginner's Guide to Financial Analysis, it is broken down into 3 categories, which is the income statement, the balance sheet, and then financial ratios. For the income statements section, I started off with summarizing Walmart's income statement for the last 5 years, and here are my findings. What I do is I go out and I'll do the research into Walmart's 10Ks for the last 5 years from 2018 to 2022. I'll summarize my findings for the various financial statements, specifically the income statement, and I'll plug it into my financial model, which will then go ahead and categorize information into the revenues, costs, and then produce the net income. Further in my income statement section, I'll then identify important line items for the company, and I'll go ahead and provide you all with an in-depth review of that, in-depth explanation of that specific line item. For example, revenues, I'll go ahead and define revenues. I'll give it to you in other words, and that's just a layman's definition of what that line item means. And then I'll provide you all with some analysis tips and specifically what to look for when analyzing that specific line item. The second section in my beginner's guide is the balance sheet. And to lead off the balance sheet section, I went ahead and again researched 10Ks and summarized Walmart's information for the last 5 years into my financial model, which produced a summarized balance sheet for the company. And it's broken into the assets, liabilities, and then the equity section for the organization. Further, I'll then identify important line items within the balance sheet. I'll explain what that line item means, give you the explanation into layman's terms, and then finally provide you all with some analysis tips for that important line item as to what to look for when analyzing that line item. The third and final category in my beginner's guide for financial analysis for Walmart 2022 is the financial ratio section. In this section, I identify important financial ratios and categorize them in 4 different sections, which is the liquidity ratios, asset ratios, profitability ratios, and then debt ratios. And then for each one of the categories, I'll identify important or popular financial ratios that fall within that category. For example, liquidity ratios, current ratios, cash ratio, quick ratio, and then net working capital. And then I'll provide you all with the formulas used to calculate that specific ratio. And then finally, what I do is I went ahead, I provide you all with a summary findings of those specific ratios. For example, current ratio, here's the current ratio for Walmart for the last 5 years, cash ratio, quick ratio, net working capital, and so on. Next, what I do is I'll identify 2 or 3 or 4 different financial ratios within that category, and I'll go ahead and provide y'all with in-depth explanations as to what the important ratio means. For example, current ratio, I'll explain to y'all what the current ratio means. I'll then provide y'all with the formula for the current ratio or that specific ratio. And then I'll provide y'all with an explanation in layman's terms as to what that ratio means. And then finally, I'll provide y'all with some analysis tips that you will be able to apply when analyzing that specific ratio. And then finally, I'll provide y'all with the calculations that I used in order to calculate that ratio. For example, the current ratio, current assets divided by current liabilities. Well, here is Walmart's current assets for the last 5 years, their current liabilities for the last 5 years, and then when they're divided, here's the current ratio for the last 5 years. All right, so hopefully this information was helpful. If you are interested in buying my Walmart 2022 Beginner's Guide to Financial Analysis, all you have to do is just go to this link right here, and it is a PDF file downloadable after you make your payment. And then finally, have a great day. Thank you for listening.